Item number 6, fiscal year 2025-26 budget and 2026-31 capital improvement plan, CIP ordinance, and other related ordinances. This has been pulled by 2 residents, Charlita Burrs and Karen Abram-Jones. Ms. Burrs, welcome.
Hello to the mayor and to city council and to everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Oh, I heard 2 or 3 people. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't introduce myself, and the reason I'm here tonight, I'm just going to talk on the behalf of the residents who are tired of being ignored. This had nothing to do with the $1.5 million that was just approved for DHA. There were some questions that came to me about how did they owe Duke Energy $5 million? Where's the accountability? So being that this money has been given to them, I hope and pray that y'all can hold them accountable for every dime that's being spent. If this money is approved, residents deserve to know which properties will benefit. Transparency is a must. DHA has a long, poor track record with vendors and maintenance. The history cannot be ignored. 5 properties, Edgemont Elms, Golden Point, Price Steel, Daymar Court, and Maureen Road, have no property managers or assistants. 2 people cannot do the job of 10, especially with untrained assistants. During the pandemic, staff worked from home where residents fell behind. ERAP funds paid thousands up to $18,000 for some households. Where did that support go? Maintenance requests go unanswered. Sometimes workers show up and asking to borrow tools, and that is unacceptable. Many residents do not report issues out of fear, afraid they will be punished for speaking up, especially if they owe rent. Some residents are living in unsafe, mold-filled units. Their health is suffering because of inaction. Price Steel and other senior heavy properties have no air conditioning. You can drive by the properties and see window units for yourself. Basic upkeep is neglected. Lawn care, pressure washing, and roof repairs are overdue. Some residents may owe rent, but may fail behind due to no fault of their own. With utility bills and inflation, they cannot catch up. Their rent slate should be wiped clean, no threats, no shame. When help was needed, calls went unanswered. DHA says it has no money and blames HUD, but that excuse is old. Durham has wasted millions on organizations with no clear results. We are not asking for handouts. We are asking for DHA to do their job and for the city to finally listen. People are suffering in silence. Mental health services are hard to assess, and many are denied. We need a hand up, not a handout. It is time to invest in residents, teach, uplift, and help people move forward. If you forget what that feels like, look in the mirror. Ask yourself, when somebody gave you a chance? And I'm going to say thank you, Deidreana, for coming to the spring fling we had on Saturday. It was a big success. Hope in the future that y'all have time to come and look at East Durham. All shooting ain't happening over there. Somebody's still holding it down.
All right, Karen Abram-Jones. Okay, thank you. All right, colleagues, I did say we could reserve any budgetary comments, if there are any. If not, we could just go ahead and pass it and make it historic, you know. All right, good. Do you have any comments?
This is our time for budget comments.
I want to allot a little time for colleagues to make any commentary on the budget if needed, and we'll go ahead.
I'm going to be very short. I just want to say congratulations to Manager Ferguson on your first budget. I think you've done a good job balancing a lot of requests, and I know that everyone up here always wants more out of the budget, and also money doesn't grow on trees. And I also want to acknowledge that we are increasing taxes, and this is the second year in a row that we will be increasing taxes. Again, I want to remind people that you got a revaluation this year if you own property. The increase in taxes does not go proportionally with the increase in the valuation of your property. I know that we've said this a lot of times, but I'm still hearing folks from the community that are not understanding the increase in taxes. You might or might not, most likely will be paying slightly more money, but it is not going to rise proportionally with the valuation increase. That being said, I don't want to discount how serious it is to raise taxes. I know the county has raised taxes 3 years in a row, and this is really serious. If you live in Durham and you're on a fixed income, or you work a regular job, because we're not, let's be real, we're not saying incomes increase at the rate that we're seeing the price of housing increase. So I just want to remind folks that we do have resources available. I know that that is not the same as not raising taxes. But I do want to draw folks' attention to the fact that our minimum living wage is finally increasing with these pandemic increases. So we're seeing a huge jump there, and we are committed to paying our employees in the city of Durham a minimum living wage to ensure that they can afford to live in the city that they serve. There's some other amazing programs that the city provides, and I also think that we really looked hard at places that we did not have to expand this year because we were worried about increasing taxes at this time. So I just want to acknowledge that it's a balance, and these are hard choices that we're making up here, and thank folks that have come forward with questions about their tax rates. Please continue to spread the word about the resources that we have for folks. We have specific resources for folks who are under certain income levels, and we also have specific resources for folks who are of certain age brackets. So do go online. The county has a great tool that allows you to sort of input your information and see what resources will work best for your household. So please continue to pass the word along, and again, congratulations to the manager for your first budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you for those comments. This is a really big deal. We only have a few tools at our disposal at the local level, and so many constraints, even in the way that we raise money. Property tax is not a great way to raise money. Sales tax is not a great way to raise money, and these are the primary tools that we have for raising the revenue for the services that are provided to the people and the residents of Durham. Meanwhile, I mean, we've talked about it all night, but just the defunding and chronic underfunding of so many necessary programs and services that we need to hold the line on, and that's a tough thing to do. And I want to emphasize something that Councilmember Cook raised, which is the low-income homeowners relief program that is administered by the county and paid into by the city. If you are worried about your property tax, of course, this is a revaluation year. That means that property evaluations have gone up over 70% since 2019. If you are concerned, or if you know someone else who is concerned, please go and look up the Low-Income Homeowners Relief Program and see if you qualify. And I want to hear from you. If you're worried and you don't qualify, I want to hear from you, because I think that that's a very necessary program that we need to implement well. There are some good things in the budget. I just want to highlight a few of them. As Councilmember Cook pointed out, the increase in worker wages. This is we have the Durham minimum livable wage, which applies to city workers for the city of Durham. It is going to increase almost twice as much as any past increase in worker wages since that ordinance was adopted. So that is a commitment to the city workers. Part of the reason why we're seeing that now is because the definition for the Durham minimum livable wage is based on the last 4 years of rent. 4 years ago is when rents really started skyrocketing, and so now we are starting to see a more rapid rise in the minimum livable wage. We're also increasing part-time worker wages, which is important. One thing that I think is so incredibly important is that Durham is keeping buses fare-free for another year, and I hope that we continue to do that. That is so important. Go Raleigh, reinstated fares. Go Triangle. Go Triangle reinstated fares. Over 80% of Go Durham riders are low income. It avoids wasteful spending on fare collection. It reduces time that you spend on the bus because it has to stop and slow down while people pay. It reduces conflicts between riders and drivers who have to worry about fare collection. There are so many reasons why it is a good investment to keep buses fare free, but that is not free when it comes to property tax and the sales tax revenue that we take in. We are also building public works and emergency operations centers, trails, stormwater restoration projects, fire and EMS station, investing another $7 million in park cleanup to add to the $5 million from last year in the CIP, adding to $12 million. And making many other needed improvements to city assets. And one last thing I'll just mention that I'm excited about, that's not a major budgetary line item this year, but is going to be an emphasis, I think, moving forward, is an emphasis on homelessness services and better coordination of the many, many different people who are working so hard and on the front lines. As we see unhoused populations grow across the country. Durham is not immune to that. We're breaking records every day. The highest growth in unhoused residents are families with children. Again, Durham is not immune to that, and we need to make sure that that's a priority as we move forward. And I'm happy to say that in our conversations with the city manager, we're doing a whole city restructuring and dedicating more time, money, and emphasis on that important topic. So those are my comments. I'm pleased to be voting in favor of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Caballero.
Thank you. I'm really excited about this budget. I do want to thank Manager Ferguson for an excellent first budget, and to all budget and finance staff. I know this is your very, very busy time of year, and you put up with a lot of council requests, changes, and just staff in general really threading the needle about what you hear from us and what we need as a community and what our staff needs. So thank you to all city staff for yet another really incredible budget. This is my 8th city budget. It never gets easier. I wish in 2018 when I passed my first one, that was actually the easiest one that I ever passed, and they just get harder because the challenges of our city just get bigger. I'm really proud that we kept our buses fare free. I'm really proud that we have the incredible CIP that we have this year. There's additional funds in that fund. I do also want to remind city residents that while we are increasing your taxes, a portion of that is because you said, yes, please raise my taxes when you voted for the bond in November. And remember, that bond is for sidewalks, street improvements, and 3 incredible parks. So part of that increase is taking into account that vote back in November. It's not just additional projects that we added during budget season. We do a lot in this city. There's a lot of really incredible work in that budget. I always say that Durham punches above its weight. We are the envy of many, many cities with infinitely larger resources than us because we do a really good job, and staff does a really good job being laser focused on delivery to the best of our ability for city residents, and we will continue to do that. While you are seeing your state and federal government failing you on the regular, please know that your local government is trying really hard to meet our needs of this community with a much more constrained pool of resources, right? So thank you again to all staff. Thank you to colleagues. We had a lot of asks and needs and desires with this budget, and I think we landed in a pretty incredible place.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you. I had no plans to really talk about it, but since we are, I want to appreciate my colleagues pointing out so many great things in the budget. I will just say, I do want to point out that we are, because of the bond and the work that we've been doing over the last, I think this is also my 8th budget, so we have about $963 million in capital improvement projects, and I want to say that over $100 million of those are in historically underserved and unserved communities, and I know what that carries with it. And I do want to appreciate the opportunity to point out that $12 million for park remediation, especially around the lead, will not be enough. And so we're going to have to really dig deep to try to figure out what that's going to look like to do it well in the next budget. And I'll leave it at that. I'll also thank staff. I think this, first and foremost, thanking our new city manager, knowing that this is your first, pass at it. And I think you had a great process around it that made it more, or say less contentious and more effective. And I really appreciate that, the chance to really create a budget ordinance that I could support fully before we got here tonight. And I will just highlight that I really appreciate my colleagues figuring out how to make sure we do cover our part-time staff in a way that's with dignity, just as we do our full-time staff, and just look forward to continuing to keep pushing away at this. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Rist.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo many of the comments from my colleagues, including Councilmember Freeman, with the kudos to the manager for an amazing budget, for threading the needle and hearing what we've been saying, what the community's been saying, and how staff has been managing all the needs we have. So kudos on that. This is a historic budget. We've now crossed the 700 million mark for our budget for the first time. So we are growing in big city, and I'm proud of that. As my colleague said, fare-free buses, yes, is a critical feature of this budget. Expanding the HEART team, yes, another critical feature. Keeping city worker pay at market, yes, another important investment. Also, the continued design of the conversion of the one-way pairs, Duke and Gregson and Roxborough-Mangum, two of our most dangerous corridors. Without doing that work, we will not reach our Vision Zero goals. So again, thanks to the manager and staff for including that in the CIP. $7 million more for lead remediation in parks, all great stuff that I support enthusiastically. As Councilmember Caballero said, about half the increase is due to maybe not historic, but the large bond issue we passed last fall, $200 million for streets, sidewalks, and parks. So that's about half the increase that we're looking at in total. So all great stuff I will enthusiastically support. I do want to also echo the comments that Councilmember Cook and Councilmember Baker said. We are the only community in North Carolina that provides the kind of low-income homeowner relief that we offer in a partnership with the county. We invest $500,000 in that. The county invests $750,000 every year. We recognize that property taxes are mildly regressive. That means families with lower incomes pay as a percentage-wise a little more than families with higher incomes, right? So it's mildly regressive. This is one way we can provide direct relief to families so that if we have to raise taxes, it's not going to burden our lower-income families the most. So I'm really proud of that low-income homeowner relief. I'm proud of that partnership with the county, and I look forward to continuing to support that program here at the City Council level. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor, and to my colleagues for your great remarks and opining on this budget. This is a historic night. As Councilmember Rist has pointed out, we are prepared to cross the $700 million threshold. We will be a $1 billion budget city sooner rather than later. So I want to congratulate Durham for being such a desirable place to live and relocate businesses and to work and play and retire. Obviously, we have some more work to do. With that said, Mr. Manager, there are worse ways you could have made a splash on your first budget. This is a remarkable achievement. We should note that not only is this budget historic, there's a significant restructuring of our org chart going on as well that this manager is initiating, and I encourage all Durham residents and neighbors to tap in and look at our website and look at how our org chart will change to increase efficiencies, to better utilize talent in our organization. It should be said, if you're not kind of a wonk or a nerd for government, you may not know this, but Durham is continually lauded and heralded as one of the best run cities in this country by folk who have no dog in the fight. We don't pay them. And this staff is constantly headhunted. Our managers and directors are constantly sought to go other places. They've assembled an incredible team here in Durham, and we're very fortunate to have them working on our behalf. Sometimes the work isn't heralded, it doesn't make headlines, but they really are at the top of their industry, and they are the best at their craft, and I want to congratulate you, Mr. Manager, and your entire team for presenting such a wonderful budget. This budget, you should know, many municipalities will look at Durham's budget as a test budget because we do not demur from our values in this budget. This budget is laying down the gauntlet in many ways. We are continuing funding boldly our values, whether it's eviction diversion, whether it's immigrant defense, whether it's guaranteed income. It's in this budget. It's public now, so we will see how those things play out down the road. But this budget boldly says that we will continue to be Durham. We will continue to uphold our values, not just in word, but we're going to put our money literally where our mouths are. This budget extends the heart, expands the heart footprint, and let us be clear, the heart program is inexorably on a trajectory towards 24/7. It will be 24/7. I want to congratulate our Community Safety Department for bringing us the data and bringing us a data-based recommendation to expand heart during a time where we're getting the most calls so we can respond to more of those calls. So there's a significant increase in the heart footprint in this budget. Our living wage has been increasing. My colleagues have already eloquently spoken to that. Fare-free buses. Durham, like all great cities throughout history, there's a threshold we're going to have to cross in order to be a truly great metropolis. And that threshold is we're going to have to be able to navigate and negotiate our city without a car. Education, cultural, entertainment, economic. The true mark of a great city is when you can navigate it and access it without a car. And we can all help with that. I want to challenge everybody listening tonight, if you don't, to try riding our buses. Shout out to my riders on the number 2 line. Ride our buses. Now, it may take some planning because we know route expansion is important. You may have to plan where you're going to catch the bus. You may have to add some extra time to get to the mall. But I want to encourage every Durham resident because, one, it'll destigmatize what folk think about our public transportation. It'll make the case also for continuing to expand it and make it accessible to folk. And it's free. Moreover, our buses are clean and they have Wi-Fi on them, so you can get your work done while somebody else drives. So I'm very proud that this budget maintains fare-free buses and maintains our values. I'm eager about casting a yes vote. And finally, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege. The way you guys find out about cool stuff going on in our city, because we have an excellent communications department. And Beverly Thompson, I tried to get my colleagues to vote not to accept your retirement and add it as a rider to this budget. But I think the winds are against me. Thank you so much for all the role you've played in communicating our wins and our challenges with integrity and honesty to the people of the city. May God bless you in your retirement. May your next chapter be your greatest chapter. Thank you so much for your service to the city. I look forward to passing this budget, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, colleagues.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. I am not going to run down everything my colleagues did. I can either repost Councilmember Baker's Instagram post, or you could just go back and replay. See, I'll be listening. You did a good job of like naming everything. I was like, okay, I don't need to name it. He just did it. Or you can just go back and replay this. But just in my generation, where I grew up and how I grew up culturally, when we saw something really cool, we would say, dang, that's dope. That's dope. And I just grew up that way, And when I look at this, all of the things that we have going on in this budget, I just sit back, and while there are more things I want in it. There are some things that I don't see in it that I would like in it. But we're working toward making sure those things can have a space in our budget. But overall, when I look at this budget, I'm like, dang, Durham is dope. Durham is actually dope. And that's why I say it. I think about it. We're spending $45 million at the federal level to watch a parade go by while people are struggling and can't make their rent. Literally, dying in the streets due to health illnesses that could be cured. But we're doing parades. But in Durham, we're finding a way, with our limited resources, to give a dang about our neighbor. That's dope to me. Getting to and from work or getting to and from across our city should not be a barrier. At the very foundational, at the very least, we have an option for you to get to and from point A to point B, and you don't have to even pay. Our buses are free. That's dope. And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, we have outlets on the bus too. You missed that part.
Carry a full charge.
You know? I mean, it's just, you know, we you know, in this, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of contention, a lot of contentious, you know, conversations happening around this budget. You know, there are some things that I personally just think that, you know, I want to see more specific targeted funding toward youth gun violence, but it is a comprehensive thing. And I want to credit my colleagues for saying, Mayor, when we get the whole package, we're going to support it. And so marching orders noted, and that's what we'll work on. I'm 6'5", that's how tall I am. And if I stand in a 5-foot pool of water, if the water is the taxes and we just keep pouring everything in there, the water is going to get higher and higher and higher. But I'm not going to get any taller. And taxes are going to continue to raise, so we have to diversify how we generate revenue. So when you hear me talk about getting more commercial spaces downtown, more retail, a convention center, more hotels, you know, a grocery store, the reason why I'm talking about those things is we have to generate more revenue, diversify our revenue sources, so that we don't have to keep the water rising up. Because some people are not going to be able to go into the workforce. You know, and they own their home. They've done their life's work. So nice things are expensive. So if we can, as I think it's Councilmember Cook, if we can do this balancing act better, I think we can get there. So we have to grow in multiple ways and you know, simultaneously. I'm so sick and tired of Cary and Raleigh talking about their nice parks. I want nice parks. So, and I don't want just a new park. I want a nice park. You know, so and those things are expensive. So we need to diversify our revenue sources. We have Durham Next now that will be focusing on assets and getting things done. You know, we have Discover Durham that will market things. We have DDI that's going to manage downtown. And hopefully we'll get some more bid districts online in the future. So we still have a long ways to go, but folks, we are doing an amazing job so far, all right? And we are growing, and I think we're mitigating this growth as best as we can with the federal government and the state government behaving the way that they do, all right? So I'm grateful for where we are, Mr. Manager. I'm grateful for this budget, and I really appreciate, you know, your approach to it and the prioritization process. And I'm grateful for all the engagement. You know, just not long ago, folks, there was like 300 people in here. We were screaming into 2 in the morning. And you know, I mean, that exudes the passion that we have in Durham. But, you know, I think that as we learn how to better communicate with one another and try to listen and the give and take of it, this is how it looks. This is how it turns out. You know, so I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for this council. Mr. Manager, I'm grateful for you and your team, especially the budget team. Director Reardon, your team, thank you all so much. We are in a good space. We're in a good space, and I think we're well prepared for what's to come. And so I'm happy. And Director Thompson and all of our staff that are retiring this year, Director Johnson and the others who've retired, really grateful for your service. And thanks for, you know, just making Durham so strong. Durham is dope. Durham is dope. All right. So with that being said, there are a lot of parts to this budget. So what I am going to say is I will entertain a motion to pass the fiscal year, to accept the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget and 2026-2031 capital improvement plan CIP ordinance and other related ordinance as printed in the public agenda of all sections.
Move this printed.
Second.
And moved and properly seconded by the entire council. Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Please close the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.